Let's read one of the topic, so which is called as the beard, right? On the basis of using the tone, language, and setting, right? Understand what kind of a tone it produces, what kind of a language it presents, and what kind of settings it has, isn't it? So, the beard is the topic which is written by Anton Chekhov, isn't it? Now, what is this? The beard is all. Anton Chekhov's one act play, right? So this is nothing but the Anton Chekhov's one act play. And this one act play name is called as the beard. So it is also known as what? A joke in one act or the Boor. The beard is also known as what? Known as a joke in one act, or you can say the Boor. So it is a humorous yet insightful exploration of human emotion, isn't it? Human emotions, pride, and the unpredictability of love. Right, written in the year of 1888, and this farcical comedy that moves around the unexpected romance between a grieving widow and a rough-mannered creditor. So you would find out two characters that called as one is a grieving widow and a rough-mannered creditor. Now, let's see that what this play is all about. If you talk about the introduction of this play, we find out the play takes place in the drawing room. Now you find out the setting, isn't it? So you find out at the beginning that called as a tone is a comedy, isn't it? So and here you find out that the setting is called as the play takes place in the drawing room of a country estate, where the young widow, whose name is called as Elena Ivanova, Elena Ivanova or Ivanovna, sorry, Elena Ivanovna. So you also find out that her full name is called as Elena Ivanovna Popova, right? So who is in mourning for her late husband, right? So she is the widow and she is mourning. Mourning means called as a silent prayer for her late husband, whose name is called as a Nikolai Mihailovich, right? So Nikolai Mihailovich, right? Mihailovich. So despite her husband's infidelity, what do you mean by infidelity? That's called as a distrust, betray. Her husband did nothing but betray her. So she remains devoted to his memory and has withdrawn from society. Withdrawn from society means rejected from society. So, and promising to remain loyal to her husband forever. Isn't it? Now, her faithful old servant, whose faithful old servant? So, Elena's faithful old servant, whose name is called as a Luca, isn't it? So, who tries to convince her to stop mourning. Mourning means play a silent prayer and move on. So stop thinking about your husband and move on in life. Emphasizing that still means what? Elena Ivanovna Popova is still young and also should enjoy life. However, Popova, Elena Popova, so refuses to listen. And she claims that what she will stay in mourning for the rest of her life, isn't it? Now that's what is called as a Indian woman, right? So what you would find out that the arrival of Smirnov, now another character. So the action is rising here. How? Now the piece of Popova's mourning piece of Popova's morning is suddenly interrupted by the arrival of who? Grigory Stepanovich. Grigory Stepanovich. So you can also say that what Grigory Stepanovich Smirnov is the complete name. So a rough and an ill-mannered landowner. Now, who is this Smirnov? Now, Smirnov is none other than a rough and ill-mannered landowner. So, why does he come to that place? Now, he demands a repayment. He demands a repayment of her debt her late husband owed him. It means you would find out here the character, Ellen, who is the widow, and she was mourning for her late husband, isn't it? So at the same time, we find out Smirnov came out, and when situation turns intense, isn't it? So and Smirnov is a rough and ill-mannered landowner who demands a repayment of a debt of her late husband who owed him, amounting somehow called as a 1200 rubles. Right? Rubles is nothing but the name of the currency. So 1200 rubles. So Popova insisted that. So Popova insisted that. Who is Popova? Means a widow. So Popova insisted that she doesn't have the money at the moment and asked him to wait. Wait until what? Until her steward returns the next day. However, you would find out the landowner Smirnov is impatient and refuses to leave, arguing that he has his own creditors pressuring him. So it means he also owed money from others and they were pressurizing him. So, and this leads to an intense argument between whom? Between the two characters. Right? Now, did you understand the first scene and the second scene? The first scene, we find out the character Popova and how Luca requests Popova to move on in her life despite her husband or because of her husband's death, early death. So, and here we find out Smirnov came, right or not? Who is Smirnov? He is the, you can say that landowners who pressurizing her to get back her payment or repayment of her money that he owed to her husband, isn't it? So here we find out the climax. What is that? The climax is the heated argument. The heated argument and dual challenge. The heated argument and dual challenge. Now, what is that? Now, Smirnov, who is a blunt, sharp, and short-tempered, grows increasingly frustrated with, you can say, Popova's stubbornness. Stubbornness means called as a jiddi, right? So he accuses women of being fickle. So he accuses whom? He accuses Popova that what? She is the woman of fickle, deceitful, and weak. Now, when you say that fickle-minded means inconsistency, deceitful, cheater, and weak, isn't it? And lead to fierce debate between them about gender roles. Right? Gender roles means she is a woman and she cannot get repay her money, isn't it? So at the same time, when the heated argument held between the two characters, Popova and Smirnov, so Popova angered by Smirnov's what? Smirnov's misogynistic comment. Misogynistic comment means what? Heading to the woman, isn't it? Misogynistic comments declares that women are just as strong as men, isn't it? Women are just as strong as men. So Smirnov unwilling to, back down. Smirnov unwilling to back down. So challenges her to a duel, right? So offering her his pistol. Who offers her his pistol? Smirnov offers whom? Means Popova, Elena Popova. What? Now that pistols, right? Pistols, you understand? A weapon, isn't it? Arm. right? So to each shock, Popova accepts the challenge. And what happened? Revealing her strong-willed and fearless nature. And this moment of high tension takes a sudden and unexpected turn when Smirnov realizes that he is falling in love with who? He is falling in love with Popova. He is falling in love with Popova. Who? That Smirnov, landowner. Isn't it? He is impressed by her courage and passion. And what happened? His anger turns into admiration. Whose anger turns into admiration? So, landowner Smirnov's, right? So, and here you would find out calling action. The first one is called as a writing action, the sudden, intense situation between the landowner and the tenant. Then the falling action comes out here. What is that falling action? That called as love, right? That love overcomes anger. Love overcomes anger. How? Now, as Popova prepares for the duel, right? Smirnov's emotions shift anger to love. So he confesses. Who confesses? Smirnov, right? Smirnov confesses who? Smirnov confesses Popova, Elena Popova, that what? His love for her, and even goes down on his knees, right? So goes down on his knees, pleading for her affection, right? So Popova, though initially, resistant means she did not want to, right? So finds herself strangely drawn to him, so attracted towards him. At first, she struggles with her emotion, who, when it's a Popova, but she eventually subtends. Eventually, subtends when you would find out Smirnov passionately expresses his feelings. Luca, who is the old servant who re-enters the room to witness the shocking picture of Smirnova and Popova embracing, holding together. Isn't it? So here you find out the conclusion that called as the unexpected ending. Isn't it? What is that unexpected ending? The play ends on a humorous note. The play ends on a humorous note as what started as a heated quarreling, sorry, or called as a heated quarreling, isn't it? So turns into an unexpected romance between Popova and Smirnov, isn't it? So Popova, who had earlier shown what? Never to love again, is now caught up in an uncontrollable whirlwind of emotion, while Luca, who watches in disbelief. So, this is what the transformation or changes from hostility to love in such a short time that serves as comedy, but insightful commentary on the unpredictability of human emotion, right or not? So here you would find out the themes in this particular one act play, The Beer, is what? The absurdity of human emotion. What is that absurdity of human emotion? Now, one side, the play humorously portrays how quickly emotion can change, isn't it? Emotion can change means, very quickly from anger to love. Popova and Smirnov begin as a terrible enemy, but ends up in an embrace, showing the unpredictable nature of attraction, isn't it? Second is called the gender roles and power struggles, gender roles and power struggles. Now here you would find out Smirnov initially sees that what women are weak and incapable of real courage, right? So Popova defies a societal expectation by proving her strength and challenging Smirnov to a duel, isn't it? The play questions traditional gender roles and shows how women can be just as strong-willed as men, isn't it? So then the third, if you observe that, you would find out love and hate as two sides at the same coin. Love and hate, both as considered two sides of the same coin. How? Now, Anton Chekhov, the writer, suggests that strong emotions, whether love or hate, they are closely connected. How? Now, the theory argument between Popova and Smirnov dwells their attraction rather than, you can say, separating them, isn't it? So, and finally, if I talk about the folly of extreme mourning, the folly, Folly, the folly of extreme mourning. So, what is that? That called as a Popova's excessive grief seems noble at first. Noble means what? She is means a pure woman, we consider. But it is portrayed as impractical and exaggerated. So you cannot excessively praise somebody, but because you don't know later what turns into, isn't it? So Smirnov's arrival forces her to realize that she is still capable of love and passion, isn't it? And highlighting the importance of what? Mourning on in life, right? So here you would find out the three main characters. One is called as Elena Ivanova Popova, right? So second is called as Grigory Stepanovic Smirnov, and third one is Luka, right? When we talk about the protagonist, Elena Ivanovna Popova, right? So a young widow who initially loves her husband too much, mourns her unfaithful husband. Unfaithful means what? Her husband was turning infidelity towards her, right? So not trustworthy. But he died, isn't it? Unfaithful husband. But later discovers her strength and passion, isn't it? So Grigory Stepanovic Popova, Smirnov, so who is a landowner with a rough, impatient nature, who arrives to collect a debt but unexpectedly falls in love. Then third is Luka, who is Popova's old servant, who tries to convince her to stop mourning and is surprised by her sudden romance, isn't it? Now, in this case, if you talk about the tone and writing style of the view, it's called as it is a comedic and satirical. So the play uses nothing but a witty dialogue and exaggerated conflicts to make the audience entertain, isn't it? So second is called as a fast-paced and dramatic. Fast-paced and dramatic means the rapid movement or change, the rapid transition from mourning to argument to love. Mourning to argument to love keeps the audience engaged. So first is mourning, second is argument, third is love, isn't it? So then third is called as irony and contrast. The play is filled with what? Ironic reversals, right? Such as Popova's sudden shift from grief to passion. Sad. The beer, right? Anton Chekhov, right? Right. So sudden shift from grief to passion, isn't it? So here, if you talk about the symbolism that you find out in the beer, it's called as a Popova's morning dress. So Popova's morning dress symbolizes that what? How her commitment to her dead husband, which she later abandons emotionally. Abandons means discontinues emotionally. Second symbol, you would find out the dual challenges or the dual challenge that you would find out a direct comparison for gender equality and Popova's strength and independence. Then the third is called as the title, the beard. Why the title, the beard is given here? Now, because Smirnov's rough, aggressive nature, which is subtends by the end of the play, isn't it? Now, in that case, if I say the title is still relevant, why? Now, because despite being written over a century ago, so the beard remains relevant because it addresses themes of love, pride, gender dynamics, and human unpredictability. Isn't it? The idea that love can come out or emerge from the most unexpected situations that makes it timelessly entertaining, isn't it? So finally, if you talk about that, Anton Chekhov's one-act play The Beer is a brilliant one-act play that mixes comedy, romance, and satire. Comedy, romance, and satire through the fiery clash, fiery terrible argument between Popova and Smirnov. Chekhov challenges societal norms, criticizes gender stereotypes, and highlights what the absurdity of extreme emotions, isn't it? With its sharp dialogue, unexpected change, and humorous irony. So, The Beer remains a masterpiece of comic theater and proving that what even the fear, what you can say, fiercest of battles can end in love, isn't it?